Welcome to my channel. My name is Allison, and if you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today is going to be another TTC update. I do have quite a bit of information to share, and then I'm just going to share our TTC journey to date. I figured now was an appropriate time. I've kind of had some scattered videos back and forth about our process and where things are currently, but I haven't shared it as a whole. So hit subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and here we go. All right, also I kind of had to take a seat before we got started because there's kind of a lot to this video, and so where do we begin? If you've seen my previous videos, I'll link them down below. There's a lot that you probably need to catch up on, but I'm gonna share our story in whole here in this video and kind of reference this video moving forward. In my last video, I shared with you guys that my appointment with the fertility clinic had been postponed due to the tornado that came through Nashville, and our internet went down. My doctor's office internet went down, and so they had to reschedule their appointments that week, and I was just feeling really defeated. And a couple days after I uploaded that video, I got a call from the doctor's office saying, hey, we're gonna reschedule you and these are the dates that we're looking at. And they were originally looking at pushing me back to May. But the lady was so kind. She was like, I see that you made this appointment in January, and I don't want to do that to you. Like, I cannot, for my own self, I cannot push your appointment back to May. That's just not fair. And so she found me an appointment for Wednesday, March 18th in the morning, and I was really relieved. Like, in less than 2 weeks I was going to be being seen again. And so yesterday was Monday, not Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday, March 16th, and I got a call from the doctor's office saying, we are so sorry, due to the ever-changing things going on with the coronavirus, we are canceling all appointments right now for anyone who is not looking at delivering within the next 1 to 2 weeks. Clearly, I don't fall within that category, so my appointment was canceled. And it was the same lady, and she apologized profusely. She felt so bad, and she was like, I really want to get you in here. I know, I'm gonna get emotional. I know you guys have been trying to be seen since January, and you know, this is totally out of our control, and we're just trying to limit exposure and just trying to follow the guidelines that have been passed down to us. And so, which I totally understand and I totally get, and kind of like the tornado with Nashville, like, these things are just out of my control, and I'm trying to be positive and not pessimistic about it. But again, I just can't help but feel like this is roadblock after roadblock, and this is only the beginning. Like, and by the beginning, I mean month 14. To kind of catch everyone up to speed, where we are in our TTC journey is we are in month 14. We have been trying to conceive naturally for 14 months. I have been off birth control for almost 2 years. I came off birth control in the summer of 2018. I was deployed from July 2018 to January 2019. He came home, we immediately started trying, and we've been trying ever since. We are a military family, obviously, as I mentioned why it was deployed. We are a military family, so I have military health insurance through TRICARE, and the process is a little more complicated. Like, I can't just go to a clinic and be seen. Like, I have to get a referral. The referral process takes a while. Back in March of last year, a year ago, I had my annual exam and kind of talked to my doctor about like where we were in the process, and that my sister had raised concerns because I'm older and she's experienced infertility and things of that nature, and to kind of just address those concerns in my annual exam. And so I did, and my doctor was like, you know, give it 6 months from, you know, when you started. Give it 6 months, and if you still haven't conceived, let's talk next steps. So obviously we get to the 6-month mark, nothing has happened, and so I start consulting my doctor. I think we actually waited even 9 months. So September rolls around, September, October timeframe rolls around and nothing's happened. We talked to my doctor and he was like, unfortunately, we can't do anything until the year mark, but come November, let's get you back in here. Let's do some basic testing that we have, that we can rule out on the front end of this referral process. And then that way we have a foot on the ground when you run with the referral. And I was like, great, that sounds awesome. And so he tested me for some things. He tested Wyatt for some things in November. Everything with Wyatt came back normal. His motility and his counts were completely fine, completely normal. There was no concern there. And then he did a blood draw on me and my hormone levels checked out normal. There was no concern there. And then he ordered a hysterosalpingiogram for me in November as well. And I think I got that done in January, if I'm not mistaken. And I was really scared about that because I thought for sure I had endometriosis, but my cycles are regular, constantly regular. To the day. I can calendar them and there they are. They are just so regular. But I thought I had endometriosis because sometimes my periods are painful, but what is painful? I can't compare my period to someone else's period. So I don't know what painful is. You know what I mean? Anyways, so I thought with the hysterosalpingiogram that it would find my endometriosis and that it would be painful, because when there's blockages in your tubes and this dye is trying to flush through, it's painful. And so went in, got it done. They flushed my tubes with dye to see if there were any blockages. Nope, nothing, everything. The anatomy looks great. Dye flushed through without any problem on both sides. So it's not like one side's blocked and the other isn't. They were both clear, so that was promising. But just kind of at my wit's end with where we go from here. I'm exercising regularly. Again, my cycles are regular. I was really hopeful with the hysterosalpingiogram because my doctor told me, he was like, hey, if things flush out clear and you have no issue, the hysterosalpingiogram flushes out everything. So any mucus that might be caught in there that might be preventing you from getting pregnant, it'll knock it out. And a lot of women end up getting pregnant the next month after they've had this procedure done. And I was like, well, that's really encouraging. This is gonna be great. And so we were really hopeful the next month, and ovulation tests said I was ovulating. Took a pregnancy test and nothing, which I shared that was the January video. And in February, this is where things just start going haywire, I guess. I don't know. February, Wyatt and I started Whole30. January, the end of January, Wyatt and I started Whole30, and I eliminated pretty much everything out of my diet. And my cycle kind of was affected on that first, I think I was 2 weeks into Whole30 when I got my cycle, and my cycle was a little different, but not too noticeably different. Obviously noticeable enough for me to notice something, but it wasn't oh my gosh, wow, Whole30 really affects your cycle. But then you fast forward to March, and I shared in my last video, I was late. I was late by an entire week. An entire week I did not get my period. For a woman who has had a regular cycle her entire life, this was completely abnormal. So I don't know if something was trying to happen, if an embryo was created and it just didn't implant. I don't know. I don't know how the science of it all works, but I'm trying to remain hopeful. I'm trying to see the positive in it all. I'm trying to hold on to maybe that was something trying to happen. And now with my appointment being canceled, I'm trying to see the positive in it, that this is just another opportunity for Wyatt and I to conceive naturally, and that I'm just trying to see the Lord's favor and his hand in this. And I know there are people who have been trying so much longer and so much harder than us, and they've exhausted all their resources, both financially, physically and spiritually and emotionally and all of that. That's not lost on me. And I never want to be dramatic about my own journey in hopes that I don't know, to like have all the attention on me. Like, that's not my goal here. My goal here is that people who follow along with my story and who are on this journey with me and in their own journey, no matter if that's like the infertility journey and trying to conceive, or if that's you're going through cancer, whatever the case may be, like, I want people to see my story, hear my story, know my story, but also know that my hope isn't based on any of these circumstances, that my hope is based in God and His goodness and His promises. And I know that He is a miracle worker, and that He is sovereign over all of this. And even the coronavirus, like, I know that He is in these details, and that this is a time, like, I can't help but think that this is a time for people to turn to Him and see Him in the midst of all of this chaos, in the midst of all of this uncertainty. He is certain. His love is certain. And that's what I want people to get from this. That's what I want people to see from this, and to know that that's where my hope is. My hope isn't on these circumstances. My hope isn't in having a baby. Do I hope to have a baby? Absolutely. But that's not where my hope is planted. That's not where my hope is rooted. And so where we go from here is I have to call back in April to reschedule this appointment, but I don't know what that's going to look like. Wyatt and I will eventually move from where we're currently located, and the plan was for us to be moving sometime in June. So if I start this process in April, that only gives me 2 months of care with this provider. And it's like, do I even start this journey here, or do I wait until I get to our next place of duty? Like, I don't know. So that's kind of where things are at right now, and we'll see how it all unfolds. I'll certainly keep you updated along the way. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you like my story, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a comment. Your comments mean so much to me. They are so encouraging and such a source of inspiration and positivity in a time where things are just so negative all the time. So thanks for tuning in. As always, I'll keep you updated, and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.